Hi guys, Steve here.
And Amanda.
We're going to give it just a quick minute. Thank you guys for jumping on here. We want to make sure we give everybody the chance to jump on here and check out this live with us. So we'll give it just a quick minute and then we'll start rolling this out.
For those of you who don't know why we're making this live video, we actually have very close ties to TONI&GUY Hairdressing Academy here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And so we wanted to spend a few minutes while we're socially distancing ourselves from everyone to be able to give back to the industry and just share some words of wisdom.
Exactly. We wanted to get this live out there. We also want to share it with our branch academy that we've got out in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And in order to do that, we've got to do it from a public page. So that's why last minute we switched it over. But ultimately wanting to get some of this information out and just sharing some of this love at this crazy time with you guys. So, all right. Well, let's get going with this. And then I know we will have this saved and posted to the TONI&GUY Hairdressing Academy page as well, so you guys can watch this at any time that works for you. So just to give you guys a quick heads up, I am Steve. If you guys haven't met me, I am Steve Chandler. We're coming live from Headlocks Media, which is a company that we created to give back to the hairdressing community. Where ultimately our goal is to help salons and hair schools nationwide when it comes to digital marketing, awareness in their areas, or even consulting in that salon, spa, or hair school to help them get that edge in their local market. So that's ultimately what we're doing.
Yeah, you know, like Steve was saying, all of us come from a history of being behind the chair, and when you are behind the chair, you're so dialed in and focused on your clients, which is amazing. We've decided to take a little bit of a different path in the last year to 2 years and really look at the marketing on the internet, which is something completely different to us hairdressers, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work, but a lot of fun, getting our brains working in a different direction. Like he said, we really just want to be able to give back and share our knowledge with the rest of the beauty industry to really see how this works online, which is a completely different market than the face-to-face market that us hairdressers are so used to.
So to give you guys just a quick little history of each one of us, I started in the hairdressing industry pretty much growing up in the hairdressing industry. My mom had a salon from the time I was born. She had a salon in the house, and then when I was old enough to go into elementary school, she opened up a salon in the local area that we were living in. And so then at that point in elementary school, I would leave elementary school and walk over to the salon and kind of hang out there and probably drive all of them bonkers until it was time for her to get off of work. So I grew up in this industry. This is the industry that I know and love. And so, you know, to be honest, growing up in this industry, you would think I probably would have ran the opposite direction, but I embraced it. I loved what our family does with this industry and wanted to be a part of it. And like Amanda said, this last year, in 2018 and then into 2019 is when we really dove into the digital marketing aspect of the hair salons, spas, and hair schools nationwide. And so we just wanted to kind of give back. And so while we're in this downtime, you will see we'll be doing a couple lives a week for you guys just to keep fresh topics, fresh perspectives in this industry, as well as just trying to keep you guys moving forward and thriving as we're in this crazy time. So.
Yeah, we just want to let you guys know if there are any kind of topics that you would like us to cover in the coming up weeks. Even when we all get back to work and the salons are open and everything like that, this is something we want to continue to do just to be able to share any kind of education or any kind of insight that we could with everybody. So please comment below anything that you would like us to cover, because that's going to help us kind of make sure that our material is relevant to what you guys really need out there as well.
Awesome. So what we wanted to start with today, we've got a couple topics today. In fact, as Amanda and I were brainstorming topics to give back to you guys, we kept coming up with one topic after another. Our list got so long that we realized we were probably going to be doing a couple-hour live with you, which I'm sure for most of you would get a little boring. So we're going to break that up into a couple different lives. Like I was just saying, we'll give a couple lives every week just to keep it fresh, touching on different topics. And then that way, if you guys have any input, please give us those ideas. So one of the topics we wanted to talk about today was branding yourself. And what we wanted to, you know, one of the topics, and when we think about that, really what it makes us think of is what sets you apart from the rest of the hairdressers in your community. And in order to be a successful hairdresser, we've got to be aware of that. We've got to be aware of what is making you stand out, what makes you special.
Yeah, 100%. When we were talking about this last night, I think it kind of got our brains going just because we moved in such a different direction recently on what is our brand still, because what Steve is strong in, I may be weak in as a hairdresser, and what I'm strong in, he may be weak in. It's one of those things where not even necessarily weak, but we all need to grow. And I know that's something that, we worked in the school division for, close to 8 years now. And so working with the young beauty industry students and trying to get them to see the professional side of the industry, you start to think about, where can I grow? Because every single day there's something that you can grow on. And so we kind of just wanted to bring this topic up, just about your brand. Who are you? What do you see yourself as when you think about yourself as a barber or a hairdresser or an esthetician or anything within the beauty industry? When you sit back, what is your brand? What are you known for? What do you want to be known for?
With that being said, we were thinking last night, let's say if we were teaching a class at an assembly here at the TONI&GUY Hairdressing Academy in Colorado Springs, when we look across the platform of all of the students that are enrolled here, 130 students to 150 students at any given time, we look across and we can see attributes that all of you guys have. And so really what we're trying to get into at this angle is utilizing and just emphasizing on the strengths that you already bring to the table. What I'm referring to is when we look across the board, we see students that are getting into this industry that some of you guys are outdressing others, and that is something that makes you stand out. Some of you guys are dynamite with your makeup skills, and your makeup skills are so on point that you stand out above others. Some of you with your hairdressing skills on yourselves. Some of you guys are putting this hairdressing skill. I know for me as a guy in this industry, I put 30 minutes into my hair every single day, and I don't really even have a lot of hair to spin, but for me it's just taking that little extra time to give that best polished look that you possibly can for those clients. Because really, as hairdressers, when we get dressed in the morning, when we get ready, do our makeup or do our hair, we're not getting ready for ourselves or for our friends. We're really getting ready for our clients that we really want to attract in this industry. That's really what it comes down to.
Definitely. Just talking about the 5-star hairdresser is something that we have talked about a lot, both in the salon division and in the school division. And it's really important because I think sometimes it's very easy to go, oh, I'm just in school right now. It's going to click the day I get my license, then I'm going to put the effort in. But really kind of just going, the day you signed up for beauty school, whether it was barbering or aesthetics or hairdressing, you signed up to become a new version of yourself, which is the most exciting part, I think, for all of us here in the school division watching you guys get into the beauty industry. And really just kind of trying to connect those two. What do you think is going to set you apart when we're talking about branding? But then also along with that, what else can you do to give back to yourself? Because waking up, 20 extra minutes and making sure that you eat breakfast before you come to school and put some effort into your hair and makeup, and you're really dressing for the job you want, not the job you have, which we chose the beauty industry. That's part of our industry. And I think that's probably the most exciting thing for us. Sometimes we'll even throw on our work clothes if we're just running errands because we may bump into a potential client or somebody that we know, which is something that we've talked a lot about in the school division as well.
Exactly. So to kind of touch base on this, where we went with this is we really broke this into 4 quadrants, really for you hairdressers. That was Amanda's concept. But to just simplify the concept of what's setting you apart from the rest of the hairdressers in your community. And so we wanted to kind of break that down into 4 quadrants to keep this simple for everybody. And so the first quadrant that we want to refer to focus on rather, is the physical quadrant. And the physical quadrant is going to cover quite a few bases. The first one of the areas we were just talking about, which is appearance and personal hygiene. And that just becomes your standard. And so ultimately for us as hairdressers, when your clientele gets used to a level of standard that you deliver, that just becomes the norm. That's what your clients expect, and then they're also looking for you over time to continue to elevate that standard, which is ultimately going to elevate your price point and what you can charge. And so make sure that we stay consistent with the standard that we create, and then we're slowly increasing that as we grow our skills, as we grow our confidence, and continue to move forward to ultimately allow us to be worth more money to our clients clients into the future.
100%. I was just going to jump in, and then you said confidence right when I was going to, but you hit it right on the head. With that elevation and with a few minutes of taking care of ourselves, we're in an industry where we take care of people 100% of the time, and that's the reason we love this industry. But with confidence comes power. And so I think just taking a few extra minutes is really going to be powerful. I used to tell students when I was in here day to day, when I wake up in the morning, I feel like I look like the crypt keeper. And so if I came in and wanted a whole group of clients to come to me or students to really listen to what I have to say about the beauty industry, for me, I needed to set myself up in the morning to feel confident. And so it might be, like I said, eating breakfast. It might be spending a few extra minutes on yourself in the morning to meditate before you come in, because we do work in a really chaotic industry. But we do know that with that physical portion, that confidence is key.
Definitely. A couple other things in that physical category that we wanted to point out was station and station cleanliness. So when a client sits down in our chair, and this is something for all of us to keep in mind, when a client sits in our chair, we're discussing through the consultation what their goals are, what they want to have done with their hair. But as soon as that's done and we start either applying color or start going into reshape the haircut, the client has nothing but time to look around. And the first thing that they're going to check out is your station and your cleanliness. When you open up those drawers to grab a comb and your shears out of that drawer, your clients are looking at that drawer to see how clean that area is and how clean you're maintaining your environment. That's also going to set a standard for that client and continue to elevate that. So that's another area to be aware of, as well as what? Organization?
Yep, 100%. Make sure you don't have your leftover lunch stuffed in that cart, so when you pull out your combs, your client's like, what? I think that with the whole COVID-19 pandemic that we're going through, it's probably, if anything, been a huge reminder about sanitation and disinfection in our industry, which is a topic that should be talked about because it is important. If you have ever thought of a place where you've sat down and you start looking around and you're like, gosh, this feels kind of dirty, I don't know if I should be here, it's a good reminder for us to be that beauty professional that is going to continue to elevate and be that 5-star hairdresser. So yeah, organization 100%. I know sometimes in the school division, you guys don't know what your next client is, but if your cart's all ready to go, your capes are clean, they don't have leftover color on them, you're dialed in, then the minute you get that ticket, it's going to be easy for you to go, cool, before I start my service, I've got my foils, I've got my combs, and kind of just set up, because really what that means to a client is the client knows you were prepared for them, which is just going to ensure that 5-star service that they're truly looking for.
Exactly. So we'll jump on to quadrant number 2. And that would be what we would refer to as your technical ability. Technical ability is going to play a huge role when it comes to delivering that quality service or making you stand apart from the rest of the competition in your market. And so technical ability is huge, and if you guys have chosen the TONI&GUY Hairdressing Academy, we know their curriculum, we know that that is a solid education, and so you guys already have one step above a lot of hairdressers entering the field right now, because you were given a solid foundation when it came to your hairdressing education. So just know that, and let that be a humble piece for you to give you a little bit more confidence as you're entering this. But there's more to that. So as soon as you get done with hair school, you've got to make sure that you're continuing to educate yourself and make sure that you're continuing to keep your mind fresh as you roll through this. Something that we've always focused on is, as you're constantly educating yourself, we're all human. So we may do some training one day, and then that night we go home and we have a circumstance at home that may distract us. Well, whatever information was in our head, in order to fit the new information in, we are letting go of some old information. So we've constantly got to refill our treasure chest, if you will, in our brain to keep ourselves fresh, to keep our minds fresh when a client comes to us with consultation concerns or questions, that we can quickly pull these ideas out of our head and deliver and keep that ball rolling. So
yeah, definitely. With technical ability, obviously a little bit of that confidence is going to play part in that, but truly that confidence is going to come back from what you studied the prior night for. I think being on the floor, I was an educator in the school division for years, and sometimes there would be a client that sits down and and the student doesn't know what to do and they're kind of feeling through the hair and then their confidence is slowly going down, if you need to, go around the corner and give yourself a pep talk, because you know what you're doing. Utilize your educators. You guys have an amazing staff here to be able to utilize and go, okay, what did you do when this happened to you? Or how do I amp myself up to, you know, get in there and really have that confidence? Because yes, you can fake it till you make it, but you can also study a little bit harder, practice on your friends when you guys don't have clients. If you practice different kinds of curling or perming, even if it's a water wrap, do whatever you can to get yourself ahead prior to those clients coming in, and you're going to have that confidence through your technical ability.
Awesome. And just like we were referring to consultations, I think that's the starting point. And if we have confidence in communicating with our client when they come in, there were clients that would come sit in my chair over the years that as they would sit down, I could tell they were picky. I know you guys have the same clients. And as soon as they sat down, your heart rate starts to go up and you're starting to get nervous, and they haven't even said anything yet. And it simply just comes down to that confidence and where we are at with our skill set and who we are and where we are with our life. And so make sure that when we get to that area of technical ability, the more you push into that, the more confidence you're going to have, and therefore ultimately your consultation is going to go a lot smoother, which ultimately will give you the end result that the client is looking for, as well as us. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, so the third quadrant that we're going to dive into is going to be kind of like the emotional quadrant. And when we were talking about this last night, it kind of brings back when you're first learning about the beauty industry, that 80 to 90%, it comes down to your communication skills, your empathy for your clients, your patience, and really what you can deliver as far as customer service is in mind. We are local guides here, and so anywhere we go, we love to review places. It's few and far between that it's a bad review instance, but I think we love it because we've been in customer service our whole lives. And so when somebody does take the time and kind of wow us, we're like, man, in the car leaving 5-star reviews right away, and it's awesome. It's awesome that you're able to do that. And so kind of just keep that in the back of your mind when you're thinking about the emotional quadrant. Is probably one of the biggest words is empathy. I think it's very easy sometimes if you do have a client who's frustrated, maybe stresses you out a little bit, like what Steve was talking about, that it may become easy for you to get frustrated and, oh, I just can't wait to get done with her hair, and gosh, she's stressing me out and this and that. But you may not know that client may have lost somebody recently. That client may be going through something that you don't understand. And so as hairdressers, we are not here just to do, a hair service or a makeup service. We are here to be there for the client, and that's truly when you get the most out of this career film.
And an area I wanted to touch base on in this quadrant of the emotional quadrant is also keeping yourself emotionally collected to be able to respond to a client when they don't like the service that you delivered, because that's going to happen. It's happened to all of us. It's going to continue to happen, and a lot of times that'll come down to a couple different topics that could deliver that, but it could come down to the consultation. In a lot of situations, and we all know this, a lot of us, and I say us because we've probably all done this, we've all gone to the hairdresser with a picture of what we wanted to look like, and once that hairdresser gave us that look on our face and our hair, it didn't look like the picture, and so therefore there's going to be some disappointment. And that a lot of times that has nothing to do with the work that you did. It just has to do with they thought it was going to change their face. They thought it was going to change their look, and sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't give them that look that they wanted. I've had that. I'm a picky client when it comes to getting my hair done. Ask Amanda. And so not always is it something that I'm disappointed with somebody else. It's usually me going, oh, I wish my hair was a little different, or oh, I wish my face looked a little different. And so we just have to keep that in mind. So when it comes to emotional control, we have to keep that balance, and that's going to be balanced with confidence to be able to keep that energy positive when a client tells us this is not what they wanted. Or sometimes clients will go home, see their spouse, and their spouse will tell them, ooh, this is not what I like. I don't like that. That's not what I liked. I like you blonde. What'd you do? And so those changes are going to happen, and we've got to be able to bounce back with that. I think as hairdressers, our actions are very important, but our reactions and the way that we react to situations are just as important to ultimately get us to that successful place is really where I'm referring to.
Yeah, I think on the flip side of that, really briefly, is also your emotional side. So, you know, if you're going through something outside of the salon or the barbershop or the spa or the beauty school, remember to you know, collect yourself, I think, before you hit those doors, because we did sign up to give bomb hair, bomb spa services, but we also, like we talked about, signed up to be there for our clients. And so what that does is that takes a little bit of work, truly, because none of us started off and were able just to do that. It takes practice to be able to stop the minute you hit the door, leave whatever it is behind you. I think for me, that's been the most amazing part of this career, is the minute I hit the door and I see my teammates and I see my clients, anything else that was bothering me just kind of slowly goes away. And then you can, the minute you get out of the salon, you're able to kind of pick back up where you were. But that's, I think, the joy in it. You get so much interaction with so many different people every single day. You learn so much more about yourself and just about the world by this position that you've decided to, you know, be in, which is awesome. So I just kind of wanted to hit that a little bit.
And I love that you brought that up. I think ultimately for us, it really does come down to us being able to bounce back and to deliver that positivity to our client. And so stay focused on your goals. I think when it comes to emotional balance and emotional control, we've got to make sure that we're fulfilling ourselves. And so a lot of times if we are focused on our goals and starting to achieve those goals, and we're starting to check those goals off as we're moving forward, the confidence is going to continue to rise, and the emotional level is going to be able to stay at a nice balance. And so kind of keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, 100%. The fourth quadrant that we're going to hit on today is going to be the business aspect. We are artists through and through, and so I think the business aspect is definitely not something that just we hit on the head day one. It definitely takes a ton of practice. Something I think that we both believe in too is that it takes a team. You know, I've definitely gone through commission salons. I have booth rented. I worked in the school division. I've been able to do a lot of different paths in my career, but what I missed the few years I was booth renting was a team behind me to hold me accountable and also push me to grow. And so with that business aspect, kind of just keep that in mind. Keep in mind who your accountability coaches are in your life, because it may be your family, it may not be your family. It may be, you know, one of your best friends that you met in beauty school. It may be your salon director, or, you know, a close friend who's able to kind of see where you can be. So to kind of just keep that in mind when you're thinking about the business quadrant.
Love it. I love it. A couple more topics in this business quadrant that we'll touch base on. Because ultimately, when we're doing hair, whether we're working in a commission salon or if we're working in a booth rental environment, or if you're running your own one-space salon, the business aspect has to be focused on as an important quadrant, because that's what's ultimately going to work on our rebooking, our referrals, add-on services, retailing. And that's just a couple little items that when it comes down to the business aspect, and I know for me as a hairdresser, this was an area that I avoided for years. I wanted the creative side, the creative juices, to deliver the best services to my client. That was my approach. That was the communication that I had with my clients. But then there were times where if I didn't talk to my clients about product because I didn't want to be pushy and I didn't want to be a salesman, but then they came in and their hair wasn't working well, and I find out that they ran to another salon to pick up products because I didn't talk to them about products, and then they were referred by another hairdresser to use certain products that were not what I would have recommended, and now they're having challenges. They've spent $50 on these products that are not working for them, and now I have to step up and actually educate my client for what's right for them. That was a good lesson for me to realize it's not about selling, it's about educating them. And the sooner you can get the reality across that we're not trying to sell anything to these clients, we're trying to give them the proper ingredients and tools that they need to get the same look that we're trying to give them. So a lot of times it's just flipping that switch in our head. As soon as I was able to flip that switch, I was able to grow on that business side a whole lot more, which ultimately is going to set us up for the most success.
Yeah, and kind of just with that, you know, a little bit, not necessarily on the add-on side, but we as professionals know what a client needs to keep their hair looking the best, to keep their hair healthy. And so I think anything that's backed by education is going to help you guys deliver those services, whether it's retailing or whether it's something we talk a lot about in the salon division, setting the tone for future services. I have to deep condition my hair because I choose to be blonde and it's Colorado and it's dry and I have fine hair already. So being a professional, I understand those things, but a lot of your clients don't. So kind of just keeping that in mind, that when your client comes, this is also, your business down the road. So that way you can look at what you are going to make as a professional in the industry. I think it's really easy sometimes for us to go, all right, cool, bleach the hair, see you later. But really you have to set up yourself to be successful as well. So making sure that you are rebooking those appointments, but then explaining why you want your client to come in. Or we know we all have the clients who don't, and then once you're booked, they're like, oh my gosh, my roots are so bad. I know I'm blonde, but my hair looks so dark. So kind of just keeping that in mind and setting your clients up for success.
I love that. I'd love to share a little something on that, setting the tone for future services. Something that I always focused on when I was working in the salons was, you feel the excitement when your client comes in on the day of their service. They're excited to get this haircut or color service that's going to ultimately update their look from where they've been for the last couple of weeks. But we also have a responsibility to create that excitement for the next service. So keep this in mind. When you are talking to a client, we are not just fulfilling the service requests that they have of this day. When we want to talk about rebooking or pre-booking, we've also got to take in mind that we've also got to create this energy and excitement for their next service. And so I've focused on haircutting and styling in my career, and so I would just use myself as an example. When a client comes in and says to me, hey, I'm excited, my hair's getting long, it's getting heavy on the top, can you reshape this so we can actually get some more life out of this and get some more length? They weren't looking for anything different. They were ultimately just looking for a reshaping. So now it was a simple reshaping. They came in with excitement. So now I've got to flip the script a little bit and get them excited for their next look that they're going to be coming in to see me for in a couple months. And so I start talking to them towards the end of their service about what we could do next time to change this up. And just get them thinking over the next 4 to 6 weeks of maybe some new ideas that they may be able to switch their look up with. Maybe adding a little hidden fringe underneath, or maybe shortening one side to give a little asymmetry. Something that's going to be fresh. Now, to be honest, not all clients are going to come back in 6 weeks asking for that look. But you gave them something to think about, and you gave them something to inspire them to go, gosh, should I try that? Should I not? Whether they do it or not, clients need us to give them new ideas. They don't always come up with that. Some clients will, but there's a lot of clients that are looking for us to give them that direction.
Yeah, 100%. I agree 100%. Something I want all of you to think about who are in beauty school right now is, what are you doing at this moment in time to build your beauty business? I think it's very easy, to come in, go through the motions. You do have things you're testing out on, but don't lose track of where you want to be the minute you get your license, because it's just not like a light switch where it's going to turn on and then you're like, I'm going to be confident rebooking people the minute I get my license. Start now. Something I used to always talk to all the students about was, be as awkward as you can in beauty school, because you have a whole amazing staff here to back you up. So if you have never asked somebody to rebook, run around the corner and ask Miss Carly or ask anybody in here, hey, I really want to see if I can get this rebooking thing down. How should I approach this subject? Because the more awkward you are now in this year that you're here, the better off you guys are going to be when you do have that license, because you've been practicing all of these techniques.
Exactly. So one of our questions to you in this topic would be, what are your roadblocks that are keeping you from achieving your goals? And we would love to hear, if you guys want to throw some comments, tell us what these roadblocks are. We'll help you break them down. That's what we're here to do. We are coaches, we are consultants here to help support you to achieve your goals. So we really want to know, if you guys have any roadblocks in your way, what are those roadblocks, and we'll help you to break those down. I'd like to elaborate on this just a little bit if I could. A lot of roadblocks that I've found for myself over the years, and I want to thank mentors that I have in my life for helping me to see this, but a lot of times these roadblocks are roadblocks that we've created ourselves. We wake up in the morning and tell ourselves, oh, I can't do that. I can't elevate myself to that level. That's what they do. but quit telling yourself these stories. Most of the time, it's our own individual inner talking that is telling us these stories that we cannot achieve this greatness. And you've got to let go of that. Shut those stories up. Do not let that little birdie talk into your ear anymore. Make sure that you put a little bit more weight into the positive birdie that's talking in the other ear, and continue. Make that birdie outweigh the negative one, because we all have that. That's a human trait that we all have, that we tell ourselves that we cannot achieve goals, or we cannot accomplish that kind of goal. Whatever your goals are, whatever your dreams are, you can achieve those. We've just got to get out of our own head, get out of our own way sometimes to ultimately achieve those goals that we were ultimately set up to do.
100%. Like Steve said, we kick ass in the beauty industry. All of you guys kick ass, but we're human. We are human. And so roadblocks, it's going to happen to every one of us. And so, that kind of not necessarily goes along with the accountability coaches, but truly having somebody in your life or multiple people in your life who can kind of pull you out of that. And they're not going to do it for you, but be able to at least make you aware of when you are. I know I obviously look at Steve, if it's somebody that know we are married, so we kind of have to do that with each other and our teams in both the salon and school division. Those are our conversations with each other all the time. I used to joke in the school because, if you guys have never been in here, it's a school full of glass, and we coach continuously. So sometimes, students are like, oh gosh, everyone can see me being coached, but we're truly doing that because we care about you. And I always told them, down in the offices, man, we're coaching each other 10 times more because we know the level that we need to be at. And we have people who are in our lives to call us out. And so be aware of that, constructive criticism, it's not easy to take. It's definitely not. I'm somebody who can easily get defensive, but when you're able to think about it, who's out there looking out for you and looking out for your better good.
With this, I'll kind of go back to a story that I always refer to. When we were young, our friends covered for us. And what can happen is, as we grow and as we become adults and professionals, we've got to make sure that we shift that mindset a little bit. When we were young, our friends covered for us so we didn't get in trouble to our parents, who ultimately were holding us accountable, wanted us to grow, and wanted us to elevate our skill set. But as we become adults, some of us have parents that continue to push us, some of us don't. And really what we need to do is make that shift to go, hey, at this point, it is about the people that really care about me are the ones that are going to call me out. They're the ones that are going to tell me when I'm acting a fool. They're going to tell me, thank you for telling me that I've been acting like a fool. And so those are the true ones that are looking out for you. And so as we grow into this professional world, make sure that you keep that in mind. The individuals that really are calling you out, pushing you, holding you accountable, they care about you. They want you to succeed. They want you to achieve those great results. And so don't get upset and don't get back into that mindset of when we were younger of thinking, well, if you really cared about me, you'd have my back. Because really, the ones that really care about you, speak up. It's actually harder to speak up, call people out, than it is to just say, I'll just ignore that. So I encourage that. And if you've got people in your life that are holding you accountable, calling you out, pushing you to grow further, that's gold. Hang on to those people and continue to grow with those people, because they will support you to get all of the goals and dreams that you have desires for. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, something we would like to leave you guys with today would be, just keeping in mind, education equals knowledge, knowledge equals confidence, and confidence truly equals power. So make sure, like he said, hold on to those people, they're gold. Make sure that, during this time of uncertainty and social distancing, and I know you guys are killing it on the distance education and learning digitally, which is very different for us hairdressers because we like to be really close to people and talk to people and move and hug. It's been very difficult for me not to hug people. Because when I was in the salon, I had every single one of my clients. But really keep in mind during this time what you can do to grow yourself personally, to grow yourself professionally. And with the day that you're back in here with clients, you're able just to really breathe again. I think it is how us hairdressers and barbers feel is we need that social interaction. We run off of it, So keep that in mind that this time will pass and it will be something that you'll be able to look back on and go, whew.
Exactly. That's kind of what we had for you today. So what we would like to do is open this up for any questions. We'll kind of look over to Haley. She's definitely more than 6 feet away from us to keep everybody safe and healthy. But do we have any questions to answer, Haley?
Not yet, but let's wait a second.
Okay. if you've got any questions, throw them out there. We would love to answer them. And then like we said in the beginning of this video, we plan to hop on towards the end of the week, maybe Friday or Saturday, depending on what works best for the schedule for the team. And we want to keep coming with more ideas. Like I said, we've got a list of ideas that we want to talk to you guys about and keep your mind fresh in this downtime. And so we plan to keep rolling these back out with you guys. So that's kind of our game plan. But any questions at this point?
Not quite yet.
Okay. We'll give it another minute. If you have a question, ask us. It can be on the topic that we talked about today, or it could be something else too. So,
and just to remind you guys, like we talked about in the beginning of the video, please, once this video is done, I know we're also going to be posting it to the main branch campus group and also our Coeur d'Alene group. Anything that you guys would like to see. I mean, I've learned so much about doing blowouts from this guy right here. So if you guys are even wanting, education tutorials or anything like that, we're more than willing to do some of that as well.
Okay. What if you're in a situation where where no one is encouraging you or holding you accountable? It's hard to be the only one in your corner.
love it. So the question, if you couldn't hear that, was what if you are and I may mess up this question, but I think I'm getting to the gist of it, ultimately is, what if you don't have anybody in your corner rooting for you, pulling for you, or holding you accountable, and you're the only one on that island by yourself? I think that's very key, and we run across a lot of team members that run into this challenge. And so there's nothing wrong with that. What you really need to do is just focus on finding a team that will continue to grow you. There are teams, there are salon teams out there, there's spa teams out there that definitely have this concept going on, and I wouldn't say there's one salon that does it better than the other, but there's a lot of great salons out there that really lead their teams in a great manner, and so look for that. Look for a team that's going to hold you accountable, continue to motivate you and push you, but there are days where it's going to be holding you accountable, and ultimately that will continue to be that strength and that push in that corner. So we've all ultimately got to fulfill those weak areas that we have. So hopefully that was kind of getting some of that info back out to you.
Yeah.
How are you guys focusing on growing yourselves during the quarantine? Books, podcasts?
Love it.
Yes.
You want to answer this one?
Yeah, so funny story is Steve and I have been talking about doing a podcast for ages now, but we do find ourselves tied up in a lot of different projects, and so we actually went the other day before, it got really crazy with the social distancing and got all of our podcast equipment. So we do look forward to sharing all kinds of topics with you guys. I know we've already hit up a lot of our salon staff and the school staff to be able to get some interviews going as well, because we truly believe that the more knowledge and education we have from the different aspects in this career field is going to help you guys immensely. So yes, we have been working on that. We're looking to bring out a salon management course training here in the next couple months too. So we've been working on that as well, and just trying to spend some time, extra time with our family while we're all trying to stay close but far. I know Haley's right over here, but yeah.
For us, in the digital marketing world, so our Headlocks Media is a company that you can work on from a computer, and so that company is not slowing down right now. In fact, that company is ramping up right now and putting a whole lot more content out, and so we're busy with that. While our salons are a little quiet right now, that's going to be a focus that we're going to put into, as well as making sure that we're looking out for our teams inside the salons to make sure that we're doing everything we can for them and to get this back on track. And so I know our management teams at the salons have definitely done everything they can to get these clients moved and to where we can get a nice busy surplus in our salon as soon as we're ready to open back up. But that's what we've been doing, is continuing to work, continuing to push forward. And like Amanda said, we're working on a podcast. There's so much rich quality and history in the hairdressing community just in our town right here. And so with this quarantine that's going on, we'll definitely be able to touch base and get that ball rolling. And so look for some of that information in the future. And like Amanda said, we are here to support you guys. From a Headlocks Media standpoint, if there's anything we can do to help support you in your salon, spa, hair school, we are here to help support and amp up that energy. Ultimately, that's what we do. So thank you for joining us on this live. Is there any other questions, Haley?
There's a couple more.
Oh, good.
One of them is asking, how do you get ideas for new styling options so you don't replicate the same look on multiple clients?
Nice.
I love it. And with that, I think I would recommend education. When it comes down to education, dive into education. If it is a gal that has fine hair and you have, we all tend to go this route. Clients are going to flock to you with a specialty. So for me, I had clients with thick hair that had curly or frizzy hair, and I just had a boatload of those clients that wanted that smoothed out. And so the trick for me was I was going to be cranking out blowouts all day long, and I had to give them a slightly different look so I wasn't putting out the same look. And for me, it boils down to education and just holding on to those little differences between each look, to be able to give each client just those slight variations to where they feel individualized. So do you have anything you want to...
100%, and really kind of just asking the client too, that comes back to your consultation. I think a lot of times the blowout is not talked about in the consultation, and so you're talking about the haircut, you're talking about, during the blowout, do you want a little bit of volume, but really trying to figure out what you have learned in school to give them the best look. For me, I think once I started kind of kicking some of my ends out around my face, I was like, oh, I like that. But I didn't do that for years. I had to watch a video to kind of figure that out. And so I think, like Steve's saying, keeping the education fresh. If you guys are at home, well, I know you guys are at home right now, but if you have your round brush and a mannequin and something to put that mannequin on, or a friend or family member, look at direction and movement. Round brush the hair all to the right, brush it out and see what it looks like. Round brush it all to the left, and really kind of play around with some of the movement, because that's where you're going to be able to manipulate each person's style.
What is a good strategy to gain clients as a new hairdresser?
Awesome. Yes. Okay, we'll throw out a few strategies to you. I'll start with one and then maybe hand it over to Amanda. I'm gonna steal hers, I think, is what I'm gonna steal. The first strategy would be Facebook marketing. And so what I mean by that is making sure that you're connecting with fellow businesses in your community. Make sure that you're connecting with people in your community, and ultimately representing your brand. And so if you chose to, you're just in hair school right now, your friends, your family, they're looking at you to see what your brand is going to be. And so I think being consistent on social media is going to be the first step. Of course, off of that, there's many different platforms off of social media. We can teach and guide you guys in Facebook advertising platforms, or really just spreading that word through your local community groups. I would recommend, if you guys aren't in some community groups, and let's say Colorado Springs or Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which are the two schools we're broadcasting with today, if you're in any of those markets, making sure that you're connecting with some of those local Facebook groups as well. And so when people are asking questions of, hey, do you know of a good stylist? Or, hey, what do you guys think about this look? You can jump in there. Don't always go for the attack. Don't always go to try to sell that person, but try to be that person that's giving back some information to the community. And that is a fast way to spread that.
Definitely. I think along the lines of kind of what Steve was talking about, what comes to mind for me is Google reviews. Once again, like I was talking about, we're local guides. We don't do anything without reading reviews. And I think we probably started this about 2 years ago. Hey, we were with Haley, we went to San Diego, and we were trying to find a good Mexican food place around us. And, we're driving around, didn't know where we were going. Okay, picked a place based off the reviews, and they were amazing. I mean, I think we were all starving too, but the food, the quality, it was so good. We're taking pictures of our food, and that all came from the small notion of, every single person's word vouching for them. We trust that. I mean, in business, people trust a review just as much, if not more, than their family members saying that a place was good. And so kind of keeping that in mind during this time, it is a good place to ask your friends and or a good time to ask your friends and family for reviews, so then that way when you guys come back to school, you've got it amped up. People are going to be looking. The minute they know that these salons are back open, they're going to be like, all right, where do I go get my hair done? And a lot of clients come in here to the beauty school. So keep that in mind. I know one of our junior stylists at our downtown salon, I think, has had like 2 reviews in the last couple days. And I was at the front desk just listening to him. And all he did was, ask, but he asked with confidence, and he let the client know, hey, I'm building my clientele. I know you were happy with this service today. If you wouldn't mind leaving a review. And for us hairdressers, sometimes that's the hardest part. But I know I ran right back to Steve. I was like, dude, he's killing it, and it's Kale. For everyone who knows awesome, Kale, he's doing awesome. And so those are the little things that I'm like, gosh, that gives, us that kind of push to go, man, he's killing it. We can do this. And so kind of just keeping that in mind.
I think those are 2 great aspects. we could keep running with that one. We can give you guys a ton of ideas, and honestly, maybe now hearing that question, that might be one of the lives that we do for you guys is marketing your salon, spa, booth, whatever that may be. We'd love to jump on some more ideas with that. Was there any other questions, Haley?
We had two more
Cool.
we can close out with. One of them just asked, have you had any clients that asked if they can still buy hair products during this situation? Would you mail it to them if they asked?
You know, that's kind of a topic. We do see some salons doing that, and I think that's, you know, if you have a client that was about to run out of shampoo and conditioner and they're freaking out, definitely, I think we're all trying to do everything we can. When we originally shut down here in Colorado Springs, we shut down the salons. It was for like 2 weeks. And then it got quickly, within like a day and a half, it got pushed to 6 weeks. That's a long time for clients to go. And so this may very well be a topic that we have to circle back around to in our own salons to see, do we need to open up for individuals to purchase product? And do we need to run those products out to them? I know yesterday I went to Best Buy to try to purchase something. And when I got there, they were stopping everybody at the door and only delivering online purchases. And so it is a crazy time. There's a lot of things are shifting around right now, but ultimately we're not opposed to doing anything like that if our clients ever get to that point. As of right now, the clients that we have communicated with, that we had on our books, they're more concerned about getting these services done at this point than anything else. And so I would imagine a lot of people at home are hopefully trying to use a little less product, maybe a little less makeup, because they don't necessarily have to show it off, you know, to the public. And so, but if we need to, I think we are service people. And so to answer that, ultimately, whatever we can do to support our clientele and the public is probably going to be the right fit at this time. And so I wouldn't say one's going to be right and one's going to be wrong, but ultimately whatever we can do to help serve the public is going to be the best result at this time. And so, like I said, we're looking into that option as well. So I know for us, we'll get our front desk team in the salons before we reopen, at least a week, maybe longer, to make sure that our clients have the opportunity to get those appointments booked, so we can make sure that everybody's facilitated as we get back into this track. So that's something that we will be working on as well.
So the last question we have is just, I know these days a really good way to get your name out there is doing videos or tutorials. But if you're not very good at the whole homemade video thing, what is the best way to learn how to make a good video?
That's a good question. You know, you could probably find a lot of tutorials online of how to put videos together, how to look at a few different aspects. I think for one, videos can be done on these smartphones nowadays. I mean, that's what we're shooting right off of, is a smartphone. Amanda's got the better phone. She's got a Samsung, and I've got an old Droid, so we went with her phone. But these videos can be done on a smartphone very easily. And then from that point, a couple things would be lighting. You want to make sure that the lighting's good. I'm looking at myself in this video, and I've got a lot of shadowing going on, but lighting would be a very important thing. Confidence is going to be one of those things. So making sure whatever you're communicating about, that it's something that you know about, so where you can get that message out there the best you possibly can. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think the biggest thing is finding out what your audience wants, you know, and so if you were to do a post prior to or something like that, and really kind of just find out what are people looking for. I mean, we see all the makeup tutorials, those are very big. I've learned some pointers from them, which is awesome. But really kind of finding out, hey, if I were to do a video, what do you guys feel like, you know, you need help on? And then that will give you a little bit of that kind of content to be able to build a video off of.
And then the last thing I was going to say was just do it. If you're worried about it, I know Amanda and I, we've been talking about doing lives and doing videos for a long time, and you know, the more you think about it without doing it, you're going to make yourself nervous and stressed out. And so let go of it. Just jump on there. If you've got a message to shoot out, get on the phone, get online, and shoot that message out. Have that confidence in yourself that you've got something to share with the public, and believe in yourself, and the message will definitely deliver in a positive manner. So
100%.
Cool. All right, we're going to end this live today. Like I said, we're going to jump back on towards the end of the week. We will post what time we will be on as we get that worked out with the teams. And I hope you guys are staying safe and healthy in your environments. And just know we love you guys.
Love
Stay
you guys.
strong.
Thank you.
Bye.